Most people over 60 are told the same thing to protect their brain. Eat well, exercise, do your crossword puzzles. It sounds sensible, it sounds safe, but here is what almost nobody tells you. Diet and exercise alone do not protect your memory or your independence. They matter, but they are only part of the story. And the most powerful part is usually left out. In memory clinics across the country, doctors see the same pattern almost every week. People who ate carefully and walked every day, still watching their sharpness quietly slip. The reason is not a lack of effort. It is that the habits that matter most for the aging brain are rarely the ones you hear about. Today, I'm going to walk you through 5 habits that protect the aging brain, counting down from 5 to 1. And I will end with the one insight that a rushed appointment almost never has time to cover. The number 1 habit on this list is something almost nobody talks about. Stay with me all the way to the end, because that one habit can change how you think for the next 10 years. Let me start with why your regular doctor probably has not told you all of this. A typical appointment lasts about 12 minutes. In those 12 minutes, your doctor has to review your medications, check your blood pressure, look at any new symptoms, and update your chart. There is almost no time left for prevention. Prevention is slow, quiet work, and the appointment clock does not reward it. So the science that could protect your brain for years often never gets spoken out loud. I want to be clear about something. I am not here to sell you a supplement or scare you into a course. This channel exists to give you the science a 12-minute appointment never has time to cover. Everything I share today is grounded in real research and real clinical guidance. Nothing here asks you to spend a fortune, because what is truly at stake is not a test score. It is whether you can follow a conversation at your own dinner table. It is whether you stay the person your family turns to, instead of the person they quietly worry about. Before we go further, tell me in the comments how old you are and which country you are watching from. I read them, and it helps me understand who is here with me tonight. So what is the one thing all of these habits have in common? They all build what scientists call cognitive reserve. Cognitive reserve is your brain's backup capacity. It is the spare wiring and the extra connections your brain can lean on when age or damage takes some cells away. Think of your brain like the road network of a busy city. When one road is blocked, traffic does not stop, as long as the city built plenty of side streets. Those side streets are your reserve. A brain rich in connections can reroute around trouble and keep you sharp. A brain that was never encouraged to build them has nowhere for the traffic to go. Please do not skip this section. It is the key to everything that follows. Every habit on this list is really a way of building or protecting those side streets. Memory is not luck. Sharpness is not genetics. Independence is trained. If this is already making sense to you, tap the like button. That small tap helps more seniors find this video. Let us begin the countdown at number 5. Number 5 is staying socially connected, real, and regular contact with other people. A good conversation is one of the hardest things your brain ever does. You are reading a face, following a tone, searching your memory, and choosing your words, all at the same time. It is a full brain workout disguised as chatting. When you become isolated, those circuits fall quiet, like side streets that get closed off from lack of use. Loneliness also raises stress and inflammation in the body, which slowly wears the brain down over time. The Lancet Commission, a major review of dementia risk, lists social isolation as one of the risk factors we can actually do something about. Large, long-term studies have consistently linked frequent loneliness with faster memory decline. So here's the protocol. Aim for at least 3 meaningful social contacts every week. At least one of those should be face-to-face or by voice, not just a typed message. Put them on the calendar the way you would a doctor's appointment, because what gets scheduled actually happens. One powerful move is a standing weekly call with the same person, same day, and same time. The mistake people make is waiting until they feel like reaching out instead of building it into the week. If getting out is hard, this still works from your armchair. A phone call or a video call counts fully. There is no physical risk here, but there is one caution. If a particular relationship leaves you drained rather than lifted, that is not the connection we mean. So protect your energy. Pair this habit with movement whenever you can. A walking group gives you gentle exercise and real conversation in the same half hour. And keep the number one habit in the back of your mind, because it is often the very reason people cannot stay connected in the first place. But here is the limit of connection. Talking with friends keeps your existing wiring firing, which is wonderful. What it does not do is force your brain to build brand new wiring, and that is exactly what number 4 is for. Number 4 is learning something genuinely new. Not the crossword you have done for 30 years, but a real skill your brain has never tried. Familiar puzzles feel productive, but they mostly polish roads you already paved. Real learning is different. When you struggle with something new, your brain physically grows new connections to handle it. This is called neuroplasticity, and it does not switch off with age. Picture a work crew laying fresh side streets in your city, widening the map so traffic always has somewhere to go. Studies of older adults who took up demanding new skills, like a language or a musical instrument, have shown real gains in memory and thinking speed. The key ingredient in that research was always difficulty, not comfort. So here is how to do it. Spend 20 to 30 minutes a day, 4 or 5 days a week, on something that genuinely challenges you. Choose one skill and stay with it for at least 3 months, because the brain rewards persistence, not dabbling. It has to keep getting harder, so let the task grow as you improve. Good options are a new language, an instrument, painting, or even a complex card game. When did you last learn something that truly stretched you? The mistake almost everyone makes is picking something too easy, because easy feels nice, but changes nothing. There is no physical danger in learning, so you can do all of this from a comfortable chair. But watch your frustration. If 20 minutes turns into misery, that is your signal to change your approach, not to quit the habit. A little struggle builds the brain, but pure misery just teaches you to avoid it. Pair this with number 5 and take a class with other people. Now you are building new wiring and firing your social circuits at the same time. And what you learn by day gets locked in overnight, which is a clue about a habit coming later on this list. Still, there is a force that can undo all of this good work. You can build new wiring all day long, but if your brain is soaked in the chemicals of constant stress, it tears that wiring down faster than you build it. And that is number 3. Number 3 is managing chronic stress, the low background worry that never fully switches off. This is not the sharp stress of a single bad day. It is the hum of tension that many of us carry for years without noticing. When you feel stressed, your body releases a hormone called cortisol. In short bursts, cortisol is helpful and even protective. But when it stays high month after month, it begins to wear down the hippocampus, the small seahorse-shaped region that forms new memories. Imagine a house alarm that never stops ringing, slowly shaking the walls until the whole structure weakens. Research has consistently linked long-term high cortisol with a smaller memory center and poorer recall in older adults. This is one of the clearest examples of the mind and the body being one system. So here is the daily protocol. Set aside 10 minutes every day for slow, deliberate breathing. Right now, as you listen, take one slow breath in through your nose and let it out even more slowly. Breathe in gently for a count of 4, then breathe out for a count of 6. That longer out breath is the part that calms your nervous system, so do not rush it. Do this every single day, not only when you already feel overwhelmed. The common mistake is treating calm as an emergency tool when it works best as a daily habit that keeps the alarm from ever getting stuck on. You can do every bit of this seated in a chair, with your feet flat on the floor. Never hold your breath if it makes you dizzy. If you feel lightheaded at any point, return to normal breathing right away. And that is your stop signal. Comfort is the goal, never strain. Pair this with the end of your day. A few minutes of slow breathing before bed lowers the tension that keeps people staring at the ceiling. And keep number 1 in mind as we go, because it quietly undoes more of your brain's work than stress ever could. Because calming your days is only half the repair. While you are awake, your brain is working and collecting waste, no matter how peaceful you feel. The real cleanup happens somewhere else entirely, and that is number 2. Number 2 is protecting your deep sleep. And I mean deep sleep specifically, not just hours spent in bed. You can lie down for 9 hours and still miss the stage that matters most. Every day, your brain cells produce waste, including a sticky protein linked to memory loss. Your brain clears that waste through a cleaning system that runs mostly at night. Scientists call it the glymphatic system, and it opens up fully only during deep, slow-wave sleep. Think of an overnight street cleaning crew that can only work once the roads are empty and quiet. Skip that deep stage, and the rubbish from the day simply stays on the streets. Research on this brain cleaning system has shown it becomes far more active during deep sleep than during waking hours. And large studies list poor sleep among the risk factors tied to cognitive decline. Here is the protocol, and consistency matters more than anything. Aim for 7 to 8 hours, and go to bed and wake up within the same 30-minute window every day, weekends included. Keep the room cool, around 65 degrees, and as dark as you can make it. Stop screens at least 60 minutes before bed, because that light tells your brain to stay awake. Cut off caffeine by early afternoon, about 8 to 10 hours before you sleep, since it lingers far longer than people expect. The mistake is chasing more hours in bed while ignoring the depth and the rhythm that actually do the cleaning. If you find yourself lying awake for more than 20 minutes, get up, keep the lights low, and do something dull until you feel sleepy. That is gentler on the brain than fighting the pillow. And here is an important caution. If you snore heavily or wake up gasping, or if you take sleep medication, talk to your doctor rather than changing anything on your own. Pair good nights with bright mornings. Getting daylight into your eyes soon after waking sets the clock that governs your deep sleep that night. And the evening breathing from number 3 drops you into that deep stage faster. But here is the twist that catches almost everyone. Even flawless sleep cannot protect a brain that is being quietly starved all day long. There is one input your brain depends on more than you realize, and losing it does more damage than any habit we have covered. Which brings us to number 1. Number 1, the habit almost nobody talks about, is protecting and treating your hearing. Hearing loss is the single largest changeable risk factor for dementia that we know of, and it is not diet, and it is not exercise. Here is why your ears matter so much to your mind. Your brain is built to receive a constant stream of sound, and it uses that stream to stay engaged and connected. When your hearing fades, 3 things happen at once, and together they are a heavy blow. First, your brain simply receives less input, and the hearing pathways begin to go quiet from disuse. Second, straining to understand muffled speech forces your brain to borrow effort from memory and thinking, so those jobs suffer. Third, when conversations become exhausting, people quietly withdraw, and the isolation we discussed in number 5 sets in. Picture a supply river that keeps a whole valley alive, slowly drying to a trickle. The fields downstream do not fail all at once. They wither quietly, one after another, and that is what unaddressed hearing loss does to the brain. The Lancet Commission ranks hearing loss as the largest single changeable risk factor for dementia across the whole of life, and a major trial called ACHIEVE, published in 2023, followed older adults for 3 years. Among those at higher risk, treating hearing loss slowed their cognitive decline by roughly half, compared to those who went untreated. So here is exactly what to do, and it is simpler than you think. First, get a baseline hearing test now, even if you believe your hearing is fine, because loss creeps in so slowly that you adapt without noticing. Watch for the early signs, turning the television up louder than others like, asking people to repeat themselves, struggling to follow talk in a noisy restaurant. If any of those sound familiar, book a test this month. If you already have hearing loss, treat it, most often with properly fitted hearing aids. And here is the part that decides everything. You must actually wear them every day, not leave them sitting in a drawer. On average, people wait 7 to 10 years before treating hearing loss, and every one of those years lets the brain grow quieter. After age 60, have your hearing checked every 1 to 2 years, the same way you check your eyes. A hearing test is completely painless and carries no risk, so there is no reason to fear it. But a few cautions matter. If you ever lose hearing suddenly, over hours or a single day, treat that as urgent and see a doctor right away, because quick care can matter enormously. Sometimes the cause is as simple as earwax, which a professional can clear easily, so get it checked rather than guessing. And please do not buy random amplifying gadgets online before a real test, because the wrong device can do more harm than good. This is where the whole list comes together. Treating your hearing makes number 5, real connection, possible again, because conversation stops being a battle. It makes learning easier because you can finally catch every word in a class. Fix the hearing, and half of these habits suddenly become simpler to keep. This is the one almost nobody talks about. Your family will remind you to eat well and take your walk. But how often does anyone say, "Please, get your hearing checked"? It is not glamorous, and it is not a pill, but it may be the most powerful single thing on this entire list. That is the habit that can change how you think for the next 10 years. Consider a typical case documented in the rehabilitation literature. A 74-year-old woman had started to worry her family. She was losing the thread of conversations, missing details, and pulling out of the social events she once loved. Everyone assumed it was simply her memory going, and they braced themselves for the worst. But when someone finally looked closer, the picture changed. A hearing test showed she had lost a good deal of hearing in both ears, so slowly that she never noticed. She was fitted with hearing aids and, just as importantly, wore them every day. She added a standing weekly walk with a neighbor, and she set a steady bedtime to protect her sleep. None of it was expensive, and none of it was dramatic. Over the following months, her family noticed her coming back. She was following conversations again, laughing at the table, rejoining the gatherings she had quietly dropped. What looked like fading memory had been, in large part, a brain starved of sound and connection. Her independence was not lost. It had simply been waiting for the right inputs to return. So let us turn all of this into a simple plan you can start immediately. Here are 5 steps, and every one of them has a number, so there is no guesswork. Tonight, do 2 things. Set 1 consistent bedtime and turn off all screens 60 minutes before it. Your brain does its deepest cleaning in the first hours of sleep, so guard them. This week, book 1 hearing test, even if you are certain you do not need it. Think of it as a baseline, the same way you check your blood pressure. Also this week, choose 1 person and set up a standing weekly call or visit on the same day every week. Putting it on the calendar is what turns a good intention into a real habit. Starting tomorrow morning, do 10 minutes of slow breathing each day. Breathe in for 4 counts and out for 6, and do it whether or not you feel stressed. That longer out breath is what flips your body into calm. And this month, pick 1 genuinely new skill and practice it 20 minutes a day, at least 4 days a week. Choose something a little hard because the difficulty is the whole point. Now think of someone in your life who has been slipping out of conversations or turning the television up a little too loud. Maybe it is a parent, a partner, or a dear friend. Send this video to them because the hearing habit alone could change the next 10 years of their life. And I want to hear from you. Tell me in the comments which of these 5 habits you are starting tonight. Your answers decide exactly what I cover next. If you want the science that a 12-minute appointment never has time for, subscribe to this channel because protecting your independence is the whole reason it exists. One last thing, and it matters. This video is education, not a diagnosis. Your own doctor knows your history, so bring this list to your next appointment. I'm Warren Hayes. Don't forget to subscribe and live longer.